Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet. This review and build covers the de Havilland DH.88 Comet. It's a 1/72nd scale Airfix kit number A01013. It's considered one of the most elegant racing planes of all time, and this model is just a skill level 1 and molded in gray and clear plastic. The vintage kit was released in 2011 along with red and green versions that are still available at online sites. One of the 3 Comet 88s, the red one, was made famous by winning an England to Australia air race in 1934. Now this kit only comes with the decals to build the Black Magic version, and it does not have a lot of parts or complexity. So just about everybody from the novice to the expert can build this famous racing airplane. The end result is all about how much time and effort you want to put into filling the seams, sanding and priming and painting. Here is the layout of the kit. There's about 20 parts along with a clear canopy and some nice decals and an instruction sheet that's pretty easy to follow. We'll be using liquid cement for most of the construction and some white glue for the canopy. Remember to use caution and heed the safety suggestions for any of the products that you see here or mentioned in the review here. And for the decals, I strongly suggest you use some setting solutions to get them to conform to the model. First thing I did was washing all of the parts in some mild soap and warm water with a toothbrush to make sure that there's nothing left in the way of resins or oils on the parts. Then let it air dry. Using some sprue cutters or a hobby knife, remove all the parts from the trees, and then there'll be some flash, some parting lines that you'll need to clean up with sand sticks and some sandpaper. So clean those up, once again rinse them and let it air dry. Start with construction of the parts that you see here, the airframe and the wings, and we're going to assemble this and then use some clothespins and some small clamps to hold it tightly together. Make sure everything's in alignment and let it set and dry. Now we can go ahead and add the wings, assemble the wings and add those to the fuselage using some of the liquid glue as well as the horizontal stabilizers. You'll find that there's some big gaps there where the wing roots meet the wings, and on the fuselage there's a mismatch, so we'll use some putty to go ahead and fill those in, and we'll let that dry overnight. When the putty was dry, I used some 400 dry grit paper to sand the putty smooth. Remove the parts from the trees for the right hand engine nacelle and just clean up any flash that you find there and use some liquid cement to glue the engine nacelle halves together. Now fill the seams in the engine nacelle with some white putty and let that dry overnight. And after it's done, you can wet sand it once again with some 400 grit paper. Now I'll install the propeller and the gear door at the final assembly after paint. So right now the engine nacelle is ready for the next step. Now we can follow the same procedure and build the left side engine nacelle as well. Now you use some of that liquid cement to glue both the left and right engine nacelles onto the wings. As you might guess, that left some large seams between the nacelles and the wings, and they were then filled with some putty once again and left to dry overnight. It's pretty thick there, so you might find some shrinkage that we'll need to deal with. After everything's sanded smooth, you can rinse it off once again or damp, with damp cloth if necessary, and get it ready for prime. I used some Tamiya medium gray primer and gave it a good overall spray with 2 coats of primer. Once the fuselage had been primed and sanded with some wet or dry paper a number of times to make sure that any blemishes were removed and smoothed out, I wanted to make sure the surface was nice because this airplane, it has a gloss black finish to it, so the surface needs to be nice and clean. Through some test fitting, I realized that the pilot's figures heads were in the way of the canopy, and it wouldn't sit down into the fuselage like it should. So I chopped off their heads and painted that area flat black. Then you could probably modify them, maybe give them a no neck head, but that'll be up to you. So next I glued the canopy on, and using some crystal clear, that's from Micro product there, or you can use white glue. And then the canopy didn't have any frame lines molded into it that you would usually use, so I simply put some Tamiya tape in place on it and used a sharp blade to provide some framing for the canopy. With the canopy in place, I just inserted a piece of wood in the front end nacelle to hold the airframe and painted it entirely with all-clad gloss black. And prior to that, I wet sanded the airframe with some fine 600 to 800 grit paper, and then wiped it off with a new tack rag, and gave it a good gloss coat finish. Give your gloss coat time to cure, at least overnight, and then I masked it off so that I could spray the landing gear. And as it happens, the gloss black is a perfect base coat for the chrome that is needed for the landing gear and the wheels, etc. So I sprayed the landing gear, the wheels, inside the door gears, nose of the fuselage, and propellers with some all-clad chrome paint. I also sprayed the propellers and the nose of the fuselage with the all-clad chrome paint as well. Now the all-clad's pretty fast drying paint, so after a couple of hours I painted the tires on the wheels with some Testor's enamel rubber color paint. Now we can add those yellow contrasting decals to the airframe. Use plenty of warm water and some setting solutions. Go ahead and trim those decals out as close as you can to the actual letters, etc. And then go ahead and apply them, once again using plenty of warm water to place them, and then some of the setting solution to set them into position. Now let those dry overnight, let them gas out, and then give the entire airframe a nice coat of clear paint. We can glue the wheels that we had painted chrome earlier. They're dry and the airframe is dry, and you can remove the tape from the canopy, and then we'll be ready to have fun and finish up here. And there you have it. This gorgeous little airplane from the golden era of air racers is going to look great on your shelf. Despite its diminutive size, it's a real standout with the contrasting chrome, yellow lettering, and black magic finish. And it's an easy kit to go together. Like we said, it's just a matter of how much time you want to put into it. So if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf. Hope you liked this step-by-step model kit build and review. And so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find us on Facebook and at our website, rightonreplicas.com. Thanks!